Hi everyone, this is a short video to discuss how you create PDF files from your AutoCAD drawings, and after you create the files, how you combine them into one PDF file rather than having individual sheets. So this is my example project. Even now that you're working at home with your own project, just make note that the Holland College logo won't be there, and that's okay. It's linked to a network drive at school. We no longer have access to that, and neither do I, so currently it is actually just nothing. It might make sense to actually just erase that entirely rather than leave the box there in case the text shows up. Anyway, moving beyond that a little bit, although there is a formal function in the software called batch files, and also get used to saying no to the unreconciled layers. Making batch files is kind of the official way to make to combine a bunch of drawing files into a PDF, all within a project. Problem is the batch file thing is really overly complicated for what it should be, and involves you making a page setup in a drawing file and importing that, then weeding out a lot of options. The software itself tries to direct you to use DWF files rather than PDF files. DWF would be the file format that Autodesk, the makers of CAD, made years ago to compete with PDFs, and even now they're still trying to push this really hard on people, even though nobody in the world actually uses this. So the whole system is more or less slanted towards DWF files a little bit. So rather than going through all this stuff, which is completely new, what I'm going to stick with is just doing it the old-fashioned way a little bit, because most of what we're doing in the old-fashioned way will look familiar, and that's still important. The old-fashioned way of making a PDF really has to do with printing, right? Because printing and plotting and PDF creation, they're really the same thing. With printing, we print to a printer. With making a PDF, we're just printing to a virtual file. Otherwise, all the options stay the same. So within CAD somewheres, when you're ready to print on your sheet, go find one of the many print buttons. Of course, we have the A, print, little icon here, a printer. You can type print. They're all the same thing. Once again, ignore the reconciled layers. You probably have this prompt as well, but an old printer that no longer exists. Once again, click OK, you have no other option. Everything in here more or less stays the same. Most of these options still matter. You definitely still need a plot style, and because you're at home now, if you made a plot style at school, well, it's still at school and you don't have it anymore. You're forced to recreate that. I'm going to use monochrome and pretend that I made monochrome, but it'll work for my drawing. For your own drawings, you definitely need to use a plot style. Printers. I have no real printers here at home, except for a bunch of PDF creation tools and alternative methods to printing something, right? There is a pretty decent tool built into the software called DWG to PDF. You'll see a few other things mentioned in PDF files as well. I tend to use this one because it's been around the longest, and I know it works fine. So drawing to PDF. Great. So that's our printer, right? Not a physical printer, it's a virtual printer. Plot style's there, printer is chosen, and paper size for me defaulted to the correct size, architectural D size sheet 24 by 36. What the plot layout, that stays the same. Scale is still 1:1, that's important, right? We still provide a scale to our drawing within the viewport in the drawing space. The scale we plot at is 1:1, because we're printing the full size sheet, the sheet itself is 3 feet long, at its actual size. Looking at all that information, once you have your correct options set, always do a preview. It's still important to do a preview. And looks pretty good, right? Drawing is there. It's all in black and white. The extents of the drawing are not hanging out over the edge of the paper. It doesn't look small or anything else. Once you're comfortable with that option, you can just simply click on OK. And you get a prompt asking you where to save your file. And that's the difference between a PDF file and printing to a plotter, right? Plotter, it just goes to a plotter, you get paper. Here, you get a prompt asking where do you want to save the file. I'll say CAD stuff and project. It tends to duplicate the name of the drawing file. I'll fix that. PDF and A2. And there's my preview. There's my PDF file. Also note that, as I mentioned earlier, there's the text for the logo, which is no longer visible, so it might be a good idea to just flat out erase the logo altogether, rather than having a bunch of text pointing to a path you can't see anymore. I'll close that. And I would do this for all my drawings. You'll probably have in the realm of 13, 14, 15 drawings in total. Actually, I guess not now because we cut it back. So however many you have in the end, you'll have to do the same process for each one. So that's my foundation plan. I'll go to my floor plan now, which I already have open in my case. Make sure it's most current. And I go to print. No layers. Ignore the printer. And do the same thing. Once you've configured one print setting successfully, rather than going through the motions of choosing a plot style and choosing whatever, I can use the drop down here at the top and say previous plot. And previous plot will simply go and choose whatever was last chosen that allowed somebody to successfully print. In my case, that was my foundation plan. So it finds the printer, finds the sheet, all the stuff's the same. I'll always do preview anyway, and here we go. Looks pretty good. I click print, and once again I'll alter the drawing name a little bit here and say save, and there's the drawing file. I'll do one more just because. So let's go to one of my elevations. A5 elevation. Great. Print icon, no to that, OK to that, previous plot. Always do a preview. Looks pretty good, and I will right click and say plot. There's the prompt to save. I'll erase that file. So all in all, once you have one successfully completed, it's not a long process. You do have to check each one as you're creating them, because it really make sure of your line weights, right? The line weights for your elevations are different than your floor plans and so on. And it's really easy for me just to say, hey, it looks great, and keep going, because this is not a real project that's worth anything. But for you guys, you'll need to watch out and make sure that the line weights are actually okay. Great, so there's 3 drawing files in total. Now these drawing files I have saved. They aren't combined right now, meaning that within the folder, there's actually 3 distinct PDF files here. When you submit these drawing files and you're asked for a batch file means that all of these should be combined into one file. We used to use a free software in the CAD lab. It doesn't work anymore. Plus, we're not in the CAD lab. There are free alternatives online. So my recommendation is that you simply go to Google. And within Google, PDF Combine. That's all I searched for. PDF Combine. Nothing else. Most of these will actually work fine. I've used a lot of them. The first one I know works fine. I've used it before. You can see the names actually in purple here, rather than blue, because I've clicked the link. And it's just this. Drag and drop your files. You can click upload and formally upload too, or you can just drag and drop them as well, which I tend to do. So there's my 3 files. You'll have more files, but you can do up to 20 in this free software. I drag them, let them go here in the window. 1, 2, and 3. It takes a moment depending on your internet speed to upload. There's 1, 2, and 3. And now to arrange them in the order you actually want, you can drag and drop these drawings. Now, I don't have an A3 because A3 is the roof plan, which I didn't bother PDFing, but for you guys it'll go A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. But you can drag and drop them in the order you actually care about. And once you have them in their correct location, you simply hit combine, and it gets downloaded as a combined PDF. I open that up. There's my first drawing, my second drawing, and inevitably my third drawing. So between those free tools and the abilities in the software, that will allow you to make PDF files of all your drawings and combine them online for free.